Hello and welcome to the Ectohead channel. Well, the uncomfortable truth about the Epstein files is that it had fingers in pretty much every single pie you can imagine. So apart from the sex, the drugs, the abuse, the trafficking of women all over the planet, political meddling and blackmail, would you believe it? There's also reference to cutting-edge science. Now, it's no surprise to anybody who's seen pictures from the Epstein files that Jeffrey Epstein courted a lot of powerful people, and amongst those powerful people were a significant number of scientific individuals, people who delved into all kinds of exotic concepts. Everything from pandemics, maybe that's a video for another day, to time manipulation. He was interested in everything and anything, and it's almost too much of a comparison to draw with Hitler when he sent various elements of his SS out to find things like the Ark of the Covenant, Atlantis, and many other fabled artifacts and locations. Jeffrey Epstein, a little like Hitler, seemed to be after something elusive, something powerful, a secret, something hinted at, something he had access to, and I do wonder whether or not he found this information by accident, as part of his ongoing efforts to compromise everybody and anybody in a position of power or significance. Whatever the reason, he was after something. And this is just another maddening thread which is dangling from an even more maddening ball of mystery and intrigue that we call ufology, cryptology, paranormal, whatever you want to label it as. It's here, and it's intertwined with everything. And it got me to thinking, who would control these particular elements of the mystery? There has to be an elite, something way above the people that Jeffrey Epstein was dealing with. The more you think about this mystery, the more you realize that the movers and shakers of the planet that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to entangle aren't in fact the real people who have power on this planet. I think there's something we haven't seen yet, a group, an organization of ultra-elite individuals who leave us to our trifling politics and our insignificant little planetary wars in favor of the big decisions. And it seems to me the big decisions lay outside of the planet. And it's at this point I think of Gary McKinnon, who apparently found some information years and years ago via dial-up internet whilst hacking into the computers of the Pentagon and various air bases. You've got to give it to him. The guy was a genius. He found information that seemed to tell him that we have a secret space program, that the shuttle and the various rockets that we're launching from the planet on a daily basis are in fact not the real deal, that we have spaceships that have interplanetary capabilities. We can travel interstellar distances. And if that turns out not to be true, then how would Earth-bound individuals travel to other dimensions, other planetary realms? And that brings me to CERN. And God knows what they're doing. There are all kinds of rumours that have sprung up around that endeavour, which are frankly mind-boggling. Everything from the statue of Shiva, the goddess of destruction, or is it birth and destruction? That's placed rather alarmingly on the front porch of the building. Oh God, that's a way to instill confidence in your scientific endeavour. Put a statue up the front which literally says, yeah, we could destroy everything.
But don't worry.
And let's not mention the cost. In the case of the secret space program, the black budgets, well, must have raked in trillions of billions of squillions of dollars. And in the case of the secret space program, how much exactly does an interplanetary spaceship cost? They say that Jeffrey Epstein, in all his meddling, answered to the Israelis, the Mossad. But who do they answer to? There's a famous picture of Prince Charles. For those of you who don't know, you're not supposed to put hands on royalty. And he's getting squarely poked in the chest by one of the Rothschilds, I believe. And the look on Prince Charles's face is one of a chided infant. So are the Rothschilds the elite of the elite? The uber elite, the ultra elite? I don't think so. Again, the more and more you think about this, the more and more you come to the conclusion that humanity is some kind of second-rate service order, that we're here to serve. We're not the king of the planet, we're not top of the food chain, something else is. But what is that something else? Are there remnants of an ancient and original race still somehow hanging about here on the planet? And if they are here, then what do they look like? Recently, there was an interview conducted by Ross Coulthard about an individual who'd found in, I think it was Mexico, human-sized lizard skeletons. And when I say that, I don't mean crocodiles. These skeletons appear to be upright. But there are two photographs shown in the interview. One looks patently absurd and childlike, something created, and the second set, which shows two skeletons laying side by side, does look more real, more authentic. But there aren't enough bones. Everything is there, the constituent parts. There's a backbone, two legs, two arms. But where's everything else? Have they been lost by the natural movements of the underground location that they were originally found in? Or are they, in fact, hoaxes? Not to mention the various legends of people who lived underground, who retired there in ancient times under the threat of some huge global cataclysm and somehow made their homes there and thrived, only occasionally exiting these dark environs for, I don't know, foraging purposes, to terrify the locals. You be the judge. And if our Silurian overlords, our lizard overlords, are in fact still here on the planet now, then what's their ultimate goal? Because if they've managed to survive so long as an ancient race and have enslaved the very top tiers of our society to do their bidding for them, there must be an end game. Were they in actual fact an extraterrestrial race that crashed here, who by any normal standards are almost immortal? And so millennia ago they crashed, they were pretty much out of options and thought our only option is to engineer the monkeys on this planet into a more evolved life form so that they can do menial tasks for us, that they can evolve over a period of time until they can refine enough of the elements that we need in order to repair a spaceship and take off and go back home. I know how absurd this sounds, how utterly ridiculous it sounds, but the fact of the matter is we are surrounded by absurd mystery every day. People are photographing it, there are elements of it in books, cave paintings and scratchings on the walls everywhere. And we somehow have been distant from it, separated from our mysterious heritage. And it's at this point you might reasonably wonder, why am I showing regressive hypnotherapy? It's strange, but I think regressive hypnotherapy actually is the bridge we're looking for. All the signs is that abductees are given information, stuff that they're not supposed to tell anyone, but that regressive hypnotherapy somehow brings some of that information out. And if we're only dealing with the tiny proportion of abductees that have actually decided to come out and tell their stories, then there must be thousands of others, people who are not yet fully understanding that they may have been abducted. Who knows? Maybe we're all being abducted. We're so fond of using measurements that we've developed here in our puny little brains, inside our puny little sphere of existence. All these scientists who tell us that alien races couldn't reach us because you'd have to have a ship the size of a planet, fill it full of fuel, and maybe even then you wouldn't be able to traverse the distance. What? We're talking about an unknown. Something we have no knowledge of. We can conceptualize it, but we have no real knowledge of it. And you're talking about fuel? No. It seems to me that the way to travel great distances might be via the mind. Hypnosis. Somebody once said every point in time and space is connected. If you know, you know. And if that is the case, then all we have to do is figure out how to connect the dots. Easier said than done, I know. During our little talk today, you'll have noticed how the subject defies corralling. It defies herding. When you look into one area of the subject, it leads you into another area of the subject, which leads you into another area of the subject. And if you're not particularly good at remaining focused, there are all these branches that go everywhere. Because somewhere, somebody has given us a story of an experience which is so patently absurd, but which links so directly one disparate part of the subject with another disparate part of the subject, bringing them together. And hey presto, confusion. One of my favourite stories is of Sam the Sandown Clown. Do look it up if you can, it's online. A wonderfully absurd tale. But one thing is clear, there are ways to get answers, but none of them are easy. Whether it's trawling through the various redacted Epstein files to follow the money and the individuals, or regressively hypnotizing some poor abductee who has maddeningly been given some information which makes no sense to us at all, but there it is, or trying to find evidence of the secret space program which might give us answers, or evidence of an original lizard race whose remnants are still alive today. Coordinating everything and making sure that we're too busy fighting each other to focus on finding the truth. Either which way, whatever avenue you go down when you look into ufology, cryptology, the paranormal, or any other fringe topic, you'll find an onion, a layered subject, and there is always another layer to peel back and confound us. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share the video. It really would help the channel. And until next time, bye bye.